Hello everyone, it's Sharon Barber here from Quantum Trance Healing. It's been a while since I've done some trance for my guides. For those that follow me, you'll know that my husband and I have been through a very traumatic catalyst time in our lives since February, the end of February. He's been very ill in hospital. He had a fall, then he had a pulmonary embolism, and he went into hospital on the 1st of March and came out on June the 6th, and he's now rehabilitating at home. So my work stood still in time, and it's only now that I'm just starting to get back into the process of planning work, and my guys have told me I'll start working again properly from October. So, and they've been my thoughts in my head the last couple of days to do a trance video because they want to talk about things. And I was thinking, well, I haven't done trance since that night, February the 28th, when my husband had his accident. And they said, no, it's fine, don't. And it was me that was putting it off. And they said, no, what we do is we hold your energy. Your energy, whatever you've been through, we've held that trance energy within you. So here I am. So I hope you enjoy this episode with my guides, which is my Salatorian guides. They come through and speak as one. And for easy understanding, he calls himself John. Sometimes we get, there's the 5 of them. Sometimes one of them individualises up as Mary. But most of the time I've been told this one's going to be the 5 of them channeling as one. So I'll just put my glasses down. What I'll do is I'll put on the YouTube video when the trance starts, because it can take a minute or 5 minutes for them to come through. So I don't want people being bored watching my face as I'm doing it. But then you might be interested in when the trance clicks in and stuff like that. So anyway, I'll hand myself over to my guides now. Thank you. Greetings, my friends. And as our dear friend said here today, it has been a while in her time since she sat with us in a trance situation. But we have been with her every day of her journey through the catalyst events that would reset the paths of her husband, and many around them. And off the back of these events, we wish to come and speak to you today about the ethereal essence of the human body and how, when a human is in what you understand as a sleep state or a coma state, can communicate with the world around them and other humans, as well as us, their guides. This is perhaps a concept that many humans would find a bit strange, but we tell you this is possible and happens every day of your lives without you being aware of it. Your own ethereal body this intelligence, this consciousness of who you truly are, connected to the quantum domain, the creative intelligence of the universe, is part of you, my friends. And without this connection to the universe, the physical form would not really be existing as it is in the moment in the earth time frame. And this ethereal self has had many existences. It exists in a what do we call as a connection collective of beings. And there's various types of those. The Salatorian guides, who are we, are one sort. We are ethereal light conscious beings who choose to connect with humanity to help guide you on your ascension progress and your path to a future time where humanity will live and work as one, as we do. But that is by the by at the moment. It is not what we've come here to discuss. We've come here to discuss the ethereal body. Some people on earth perhaps understand it as a soul. It is the name that has been given to this ethereal energy without really understanding what it truly is. And the soul gets confused with the soul plan energy of the higher self. And the higher self gets confused with the ethereal body and the gatekeeper. So first of all, I will clarify yet again what is what. The physical form is the physical body, the cells, the structure, the cartilage, your brain, your hair, your personality, your DNA, physical form. Your ethereal form is a conscious being, light being, that exists in the ethos of the universe in a collective, who for part of his own development and helping humanity has decided to come and connect with a physical form and be part of them in cellular structure, mind, and the ethereal energy. And then alongside the physical and the ethereal energy comes your higher self, which is your leading guide. And this can be a multidimensional light being, like the ethereal self, or like us, or it can be a physical, highly ascended being that chooses to work with you. Alongside with the ethereal self and the other guides that plan your life for the higher good of self and humanity, they set a soul plan. And the energy comes from the higher self and it is placed within you. The energy that is there to guide you, an ethereal energy in the heart space of the human body. And this is what some people confuse sometimes as the soul. The soul plan is the energy of your existence and your path ahead. It is a guiding system, a sat-nav. That is all it is. And yet it holds many, many secrets indeed. And if you can, well, in your earth state of 3D understanding, we like to dimensionalize Earth because we don't think you'd understand how the process works if we didn't. So for those of you who don't like to hear the word dimensions anymore because you've regressed above it, you progress beyond that point of understanding, then please bide with us, because there are many that haven't, and you can't let your arrogance stop others understand it in this format. So the 3D way of thinking is what limits you at the moment. I sit from 5 to 10 in our energies, our way of thinking. So this ethereal body I've been talking about connects with the physical form, and in your case it's a human being of Earth. And we like to call it the ethereal human essence. Now, when somebody is sleeping, the ethereal human essence can consciously detach from the physical body, but always has an energy connection to maintain its link, and can travel through the cosmos, the realms, the dimensions, to other places, connecting up with other ethereal beings that are probably connected with you in your lifetime. People you know, people you sit next to, people who've taught you, been your teachers, perhaps even those you see as your foes. You travel together for knowledge and lessons beyond the earth plane. And then you come back to the form, the physical form you are connected with, and they wake up and they will not remember any of it. Over 8 billion of you on this planet. But there's a few of you who have the privilege to remember, to understand, to use this knowledge you see in these travels for writing, for telling others, developing ways for lucid daydreaming, lucid dreaming, connecting to the ascension, learning to bring yourself away from your body and remember what you see, because your brain can grow to that conscious level to remember. Now, once you reach that level, so for example, our dear friend here, when she travels, she comes back and she sees who she's been with, but she sees them in the human form in her mind. She knows who she's been with and who she's been traveling with. And sometimes it surprises her, because it's not always the people she thinks she would be. And other times it's just strangers, and she just knows she's been somewhere. And there's been celestial beings she doesn't recognise as they're not of human form. And the memories are there for her to share the knowledge in her books, in what we channel, and to share with you. Now, the other place that the ethereal body can leave is when somebody is in what you call the coma state in your world. And this most likely would be through illness or the result of a catalytic event that stops the heart, and they have to restart the body, and they have to keep that body going. So they comatize the body. So the body is just concentrating on surviving. The mind isn't sleeping in the way you'd understand when you sleep, when you go to bed. It is put into a state of being, and has consciousness and can hear around it. And there can be recall of memories that has gone on while they've been in a coma, and yet they weren't awake. Now, the ethereal essence of that body, depending on the situation, is very much earthbound to that physical body, because that body is still breathing in the earth atmosphere. So when they wish to travel and go around, or speak to someone they know who's a light worker channeler who would be able to connect with, it might not be as strong as someone like me who's not linked with a physical body in that way. Yes, I'm a guide to this physical body, but I'm not connecting the way the ethereal essence of that being is to that physical form. So when there is a coma state of being and the ethereal self chooses to travel and communicate with other earth beings, it would be on shorter bursts and a weaker strength. So the tale is told in the scenario in the book, Grief Walks Beside You, which we encourage our friend here to write while she was going through all of that trauma and grief she experienced. It was a tool to help her focus in the times she could not go to the hospital and visit her husband. It was a focus for her, and we managed to keep her attuned to us and channel and guide her through the process of what would be required in this book. And she tells the narrative of her experience when her husband first communicated with her when he was in a coma state. Now, he was detaching from the earth energy, but he hadn't left earth. He was still in the earth realm. And he was deciding whether to stay or go, what would be the consequences if he stayed for all involved, and what would be best for the higher self of all. And the decision was finally made to stay. Now, this conversation was being told to our friend here as he discussed it with her. And as you can imagine, you're dealing with a very heavy burden of a catalyst event around somebody you love dearly who's lying in a hospital bed and you're being told they're dying, to someone coming to you and saying to you, who you recognise as your husband in the ethereal self, I'm not sure whether I'm going to stay. I might go, and this is the reasons why. It was a bit of an experiment, we have to be honest, because there haven't been many opportunities on earth for us to be able to do this. And the experiment was really just to see how she handled it and how her mind processed it at her ascension level. Because she's now beyond the 3 dimensions, she's 4th going into 5th. And she was okay on and off. But in the end, it got too much for her. And it started to affect her mentally. And she started to think, am I imagining this? Is there something bad with me? And we could see a breakdown of the energies, which was not beneficial to us. So we put a stop to it and allowed her to live her 3D journey in the soul plan journey alongside her husband's soul plan journey and live the consequences of that catalyst event. And this is what she's recorded in this amazing book that's been produced for Earth in humanity to understand. The ethereal self is a beautiful energy, and it is part of you, who you are in your physical life. And when we say to you, let's find your true self, you might say, well, what do you mean, what is my true self? Well, how on earth can I find my true self? Well, the connection is the ethereal body. The connection is understanding and trusting. There is another you, a version of you, but a lighter version of you, a better version of you. And your physical version needs to try and be more like the lighter version, this beautiful being that's chosen to step with you on your journey. And while you're doing this and trying to evaluate who you are, you've got guides like your higher self and other guides that are with you for your life that are trying to help you, are trying to guide you, trying to help you see beyond your earth understanding. And as you can imagine, it is very hard. And as your world spirals more into war and separation, which it is at the moment, it is fighting hard against this new timeline. There's yin and yang. And it is getting harder, we find, at the moment, because people have lost their way again. The COVID pandemic, which was placed to start this new timeline, is starting to be forgotten what was learned. Why was the world stopped? Well, you know why it was stopped, my friends. I don't have to tell you. And if you can't think of it now, then you need to sit and you need to reflect. And think back to those days. What did you learn? How did things improve? What changed around me? What changed in our world? What would I like to have kept from that time period that we could bring forward that would help us now? So you must understand, you all have an ethereal body, an essence connected to the quantum source of the universe. An intelligence, a being of existence, is multifaceted. That can create a form of itself for you to understand in physical form, or can stay in the light, growing and changing and developing in their own collective of energy. And there's billions of them through this universe, all working in some form or way to help many species like humans on Earth to transcend, to ascend, to change, to alter, to find your uniqueness within this cosmos of who you are. And it is lost, my friend. It has been lost. In the years that have gone before us, if we go back 300,000 years to what you'd understand as an Atlantis period, it was there then. There was sparks of it. We managed to achieve it. And then, as we trusted the human way of life and hope that humans could contain this beautiful energy, this way of being on Earth, it broke down and degraded again with the influence of outside dark forces off the Earth plane. And this keeps happening. And the only way we can stop those dark forces from influencing the Earth is for you as individuals to start trusting and understanding and believing there's more than you. There's an ethereal self that can communicate with others while you're here on Earth and when you go back to your source of creation. And these are the ethereal selves that present themselves to the mediums of that life experiment, that life experience, that life they chose to have with a human form. And they come back and show themselves perhaps as the grandfather, an aunt, a friend up the road, and presents their, what should we say, the information, the message that's needed at the time for that human to grow. So that's why some of you don't hear from loved ones, because there is no message, or it's not your time to receive a message at that point. And there's other times where you may receive many messages, because that is what you need at that time for healing. And these are your ethereal selves coming back to talk, to communicate, to help humanity. So there's an awful lot of us very busy trying to help you all. So I say to you, my friends, why are you not helping yourselves? What is stopping you? Why can't you change? The catalyst events that we talk about, that I've mentioned already, these are events that are created to help humanity ascend. They might seem traumatic, but if you speak to spiritual people on a spiritual journey that goes to groups or spiritual churches, or fairs, mind fairs, body and mind fairs, you will see, if you have a chance to talk to them, most likely all of them have had a catalyst traumatic event that has turned them onto the spiritual path. And it could be years of trauma before they saw the light, or it could be a week. But all have had an event in their life for them to see the light and to know there's something else out there. And then they start their journey of learning in a different way. There will be a day for humanity, and I see this day, I keep it in my heart, my energy, our energy as the 5 that work with this sitter. The humanity will not need these catalyst events anymore. They will not need the trauma, because the generations that come after you will learn not to have war, but to have unity and support. Not to fear living on an island of those that approach the island for a better life, what they would take from you. You can see what I say, my friends. You can see how humans need to change. And while this is all bubbling up to the surface, the darkness is being spread out, fighting against the light. And you need to start speaking your light out. What are you afraid of? Share out videos, share out people who talk about these things. Start to be the leader of knowledge. Start to be the person that's not afraid of change. How else are you going to change your world? Now, back to the ethereal essence, leaving the physical body for its astral travel, dream state, or in a coma to give messages and guidance. If you think you would like to start to remember what you think as a dream state, if you do recall anything when you wake up, whatever it is, whatever it might seem like a normal dream to you, write it in a dream book. You might be inspired to write some words, some poetry. And it's a way of starting to open up to this ethereal travel, which can be done linked to the human physical body. And you can start to meet celestial beings, start to visit their spacecrafts. You can go to other planets. And they have what we call a space of unison. So the projection of the ethereal body as he travels, she travels, will reflect the human form they are connected with at that time. So the celestial bodies, they can see you and understand you from what the ethereal consciousness allows, will connect to the earth energy and who you are. And you can have conversations. It's very interesting. But you have to go on a journey for this. You perhaps have to learn to meditate if you're not already. Relax. The more you seek it, the harder it will be, because you'll put barriers up, is to relax into this journey. Now, our friend here has had many meditation experiences where she has been taken on the journey. And she has put a couple of them in her book, The Grief Walks Beside You. There's also another example in there how somebody that was sleeping who was very sick came and connected with her as a working medium. And that, again, is an interesting story. And there's so many stories out there that could be told of how people have had messages. But so many of you are afraid to speak out because perhaps your social position, your social family, religion, whatever reason it is, you're afraid to speak, and it remains hidden behind closed doors. And then one day somebody might come to you and say, I've had this experience. What do you think? And you say, oh, I've had a similar experience. And you tell your stories to each other. And then the ripple effect grows. And you must not be afraid to share what you experience, especially if you seek it. What's the point of seeking it if you cannot share it? So I'm going to leave that with you today. And I hope you've enjoyed this session. And we will be doing more as time goes on in your earth plane. If there's any subjects you wish us to discuss, please let the sitter know. And if we feel they are suitable for the higher ascension of humanity, we will bring them forward to discuss. And we thank you for your time as always. And we send you our greetings and wishes. Best wishes, of course, in the light. Oh, hello. Wow. Okay. So as I was going down, I was going, oh no, I haven't done this for ages. Can't do this. Oh yeah. And next thing I know, well, I don't know. Sort of, it just goes. So I can hear everything around me really loud. Even the traffic on the road, the sniffling of the dog, everything's really loud. And then when they come forward, it's like that all goes. And then as I start to come back out, the awareness clicks in again. Oh, there's the road, there's the noise, there's the birds. It's strange. Anyway, as always, I shall listen back and check it's okay. And if you see it on YouTube, it was. I'm sure it is, because it's my beautiful Salatorian guides that were here with me today. So I hope you enjoy the session with my guides and the message they've brought forward for you, or messages. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.